The latest retail inflation numbers are out, and the news isn't good because the RBI's comfort level has been crossed. What does that mean? What are the implications? My colleague Priyanshi joins us for more on this. Priyanshi, what are you getting?
Well, Vishnu, it is a sharp jump in the retail inflation rate, and it has crossed the RBI's comfort level of 6% for the first time after 2 months. So it is a jump that is well above estimates. Now, what do the figures tell us? The inflation figure for the month of January 2023 is 6.52%. This is well above RBI's comfort level of 6%. Last month, it was at 5.72%, which was in the month of December 2022, and in November, it was at 5.88%. So for the last 2 months, inflation rate had been falling and it was within the RBI 6% threshold, but now it has risen after that 2-month break and it has crossed the RBI's threshold of 6%. Now, what is the major cause behind this rising inflation? It's food prices. The higher inflation is driven by high food prices. If we talk about the food inflation figure, the food inflation this month is at 5.94%, while last month it was at 4.19%. So the major jump is in food inflation, which means that the food prices in January this year compared to January last year were higher. Last month, the food inflation was 4.19%, but now it has jumped to 5.92%. So that is the primary reason that is driving up the inflation figure. If we talk about the trend for the past few months, this inflation figure is the highest since October 2022. For the last 2 months, as I said, inflation had been falling. So this inflation figure is the highest since October 2022. Another important trend that we need to point out here is that rural inflation is above urban inflation for the 8th straight month now. For the last few months, we've been seeing an important trend, which is that the price rise is more in rural India as compared to urban India. And that trend, unfortunately, is still continuing, that rural India is hurt more by rising prices than urban India. If we talk about the numbers, the inflation in rural India is at 6.85% in the month of January, while in urban India, it's at 6%. So it's a significant gap between rural and urban inflation. If we also talk about the various heads now, as I said, food inflation has jumped. The food and beverage inflation is at 6.17, above 6%. Clothing and footwear inflation is at 9%. Your fuel and light inflation is at 10%, and the inflation for housing is at 4.62%. So while the other heads are still closer to the figures that they were around in the month of December, the major jump has been in food inflation, which means that the prices of essentials are really going up, which is driving up the overall inflation figure above the RBI's comfort level. So that's definitely a concerning figure for the Indian economy.